voting is not my issue to fight. I believe.
So what's your issue to fight?
My issue, I fight for young black men before they die. And that's what I do in my organization. I do teach them to vote, but I don't tell them that voting is going to be the be all end all.
No one says the be all the end all, but it's a part of it.
But you guys promote voting like it's just going to change like the systemic outlook of the black community. That's not where it's at. We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So so define do for self.
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets when I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities. You shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skilled trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went to
Mr. Roland Jackson, who is one of the biggest house Negroes that we know today in America, decided to have this ongoing quote-unquote debate or conversation with Mr. King Randall, all right? An up-and-coming revolutionary black man, if I do say so myself. He is having this conversation with Mr. Roland Martin, and this conversation, watching it, and I haven't watched it in its fullness. I watched maybe up to 25 minutes, but I believe the conversation is probably like 30 minutes or more. I'm going to put the full video in the description box below so that you can watch it and analyze it for yourself. Nonetheless, this video, at least the one that they're showing on social media and so on and so forth, this video is not a surprise to me. I mean, have you seen this man in action?
That's how I told y'all need the music. Don't let.
Is this nigga serious?
I mean, like when he put Dr. Umar Johnson up on the podium and had Dr. Umar Johnson going against those Negroes on the podium. These are people that he handpicked, people that he probably go eat out in restaurants, all this other type of stuff with, and he had those people on the podium to try and combat Dr. Umar Johnson.
Interracial marriage. I mean, come on, man. You're too smart for this. We got 43.
Too smart for what?
We got 43 million black people in this country.
And that
we got
means
over
what?
190 million white people. You're going to sit here and say that if a black person and a white person get married, a black person and a white person get married, one can't understand the other person's struggle. You've seen Tim Wise, right? You've seen Reverend Wallace. You've seen white people who understand racism very well.
That doesn't mean they're going to do anything about it.
The other thing that is obviously true is they understand racism when you see things like the murder of Medgar Evers, like the murder of Martin Luther King. They understand racism
and
just
what
fine.
Did they do about it?
They understand us gaining just fine, and that's why murder happened.
Based on what?
So the idea that somehow a white person can't understand our struggle,
I could care less what they understand. I'm asking you, what have they done systematically to improve the opportunities of white folks? He did not tell me that.
Yes, you did tell me that.
He did not tell me that.
You're going to tell me that guys like Tim Wise and Reverend Wallace don't understand race in America?
What about Tim Wise?
They don't understand race in America?
He articulates racism, but what has he done to systematically
white people that understand race in America?
There's not a white person in America.
There's no white people understand race in America.
There's not a white person. Them going to Eugene.
There's not a white person in America who has ever worked to systematically eliminate the white privilege that they benefit from vis-a-vis your oppression.
You're lying. You know 190 million people in America.
Eugene.
We're not going to go there. We're not. I haven't
called me a liar, and you're cool.
Well, it's a fact that
watch
you're
how
lying.
You talk
it's
to
a
me,
fact that you're lying. It's a fact that you're lying.
I understand you.
The same.
Roland, Roland, I know they're paying you that big check, all right? I know you want to do everything that you can to please your master. I understand, fam. But when you're using people around my age, I'm 22, I just turned 22. When you're using men around my age, shout out to King Randall, 21 years old, around my age and so on and so forth, and in my state. We want to hook up or something. But when you're using men around my age, trying to exploit them, per se, like you're trying to make him look bad, basically, that what he said in a tweet, that black people need to stop being dependent on white people. They need to stop being dependent on the government and do for self. Your dumb ass gonna say, what you mean? Fool, what the hell do you think he meant? Like I'm really scratching my head here. What the hell do you think he meant when he said do for self? I mean, listen. Let me get a book from. If you haven't read Message to the Black Man in America, I don't know what to tell you, Roland. I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't caught up to date on what it means to do for self as a black man in America, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, for about a century now, black people, we've had leaders come and go trying to inform black people to do for self, and then we're wondering why our predicament hasn't changed. Is because we think voting is going to change our solutions. We think marching is going to do something. We think being a supportive, a representative for a particular party is going to get us somewhere. We think infiltrating, integrating, associating, assimilating, we think all these aidings, we think all of these particular ways in which we can co-sign and collaborate and all this other type of stuff with other folks or people will somehow rub off on us. We think that if we associate more with white people, if we think that we can get, hand in hand with the Mexicans and the Hispanics, and we can shout out stop Asian hate, and we're for everything that's going on bad with the Asian community, because if it happens to them, it happens to all of us, because we're people of color, we're the minority. This inferiority narrative that you want to push, and not just Roland Martin, but this is what the media pushes as well. And they have these Negroes that want to push this narrative as well to co-sign to it. You want to have this narrative that you're inferior, you're the minority, and that you have to be dependent upon somebody else in order to get somewhere in life. And Roland Martin is one of those people that's pushing that narrative. I mean, you have people around Roland Martin's age that will also try to use the same argument as Roland Martin did in this video. I mean, you really will have elders picking at you to the bone because you're a young black man or a young black woman who won't vote because you see through the BS. Now, for some reason, there is a historical narrative here that young people have this particular stereotype, or they have this typical mindset that voting won't get things done. And I hate this narrative that's being pushed, that it's always the young people. It's the young people that don't know any better, the young people that are ignorant, dumb, deaf, and blind, whatever the case may be. However, if you're having somebody like King Randall, Mr. Randall here, who is going out of his way to say and to make a good argument that voting hasn't done anything good for us as black people historically, and is damn sure not going to do anything for us in terms of how we can get things done in our communities, and how we can get the mental health and the physical and emotional and spiritual health that we need as a people. Voting is not going to do that, because we can't depend on this government that was institutionalized and created against us to benefit us, or for us to seek some form of praise, or for us to seek some form of benefits from these people. We can't expect a government or a system that was created against us to seek our best interests in this world. which is the point that Randall was making, that we as black people have to stop being dependent upon these particular organizations or a government or whatever the case may be in order for us to get what needs to be done. We have to depend on ourselves. If we don't know our history, we are doomed to repeat the same cycle of being bamboozled. And if you don't know, for people who are around my age, from 18 going on 24, if you don't know how white supremacy operates and works, please read the ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. This is a wonderful book that you can read and learn about the ins and outs of white supremacy and how this system works. How can you get mad at a black man at the age of 21 and 22 who will say unapologetically that black people need to stop being dependent upon the government in order to do the ins and outs of what they need to do in their life? That's why Malcolm X was so controversial in his time, because he was encouraging black people to stop being dependent, stop identifying with being a Democrat or a Republican, because both of them do not work in your favor.
The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal, and white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leaders.
They are two wings of the same bird. As I heard one person say, there are two horns of the same devil. It's the same organization. It's the same system. It's the same organization. It doesn't matter if you're going for the Celtics or for the Bulls, for the Heats or for the Lakers. They're all NBA basketball teams working for the same organization. As Marcus Garvey said, any leadership, and I'm paraphrasing, but any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is the same leadership that will enslave you. He also said that if the Frenchman can do it, if the Brits could do it, if the Indian man could do it, if the East Indian man could do it, then we ourselves can do this as well. There has never been a nation of people that have depended upon another nation of people for representation, for benefits, for some form of admiration or adoration. There has never been a nation of people that have looked to their oppressor or the one enslaving them for some form of equality, and they got it. For some form of actual benefits to benefit their people for generations upon generations, and they got it. The problem that black people have today is no more different than what was going on a century ago. The issues are still here. As Malcolm X said to one of the people that was working with Martin Luther King, all of the problems that you are fighting for is temporary.
See, as long as someone is giving you something, he can always take it back. And this is the mistake this is where our people are making the mistake. We are sitting, waiting for whites.
Nobody gets the Negro anything.
I don't mean it in that sense. Either in court or out of court, we've been sitting and waiting for the man to give us some concessions. Now, whenever you ask if you're asking the white power structure for jobs, that's only a temporary solution. If you ask the white power structure for housing, that's a temporary solution. As Mr. Farmer said, where the Negro used to ask for equality, now he's asking for more. He's asking for more than equality. Well, likewise, if they give us more than equality, 10 years from now, we're going to be asking for more than that because the problem has still not gotten a real solution.
Mr. Moderator.
Just one moment, let me finish what I'm going to say. As long as we accept a temporary solution, the problem will go unsolved. It'll be solved for you and me right now, but not for our children. If the black nations in Africa, most of which have less a less number of educated Africans than exist among black people in this country, yet they can establish their own independent nations and try and create a future for their people, then Mr. Muhammad says, here in America, there are enough black people who profess to be educated, and with all this talk about equality with the white man, if we're equal with the white man, why can't we separate from him and set up our own government and go for ourselves and solve our own problems?
You're fighting for whether or not you can have the right to vote. You're fighting for whether or not the police can get a grip on respecting you, on whether or not you can get some actual representation in this society. And you're putting your focus and your energy in the wrong places. Why not build your own organizations? Why not build your own institutions of media and actually invest all that time and effort into that? Beyond me. All right, it's beyond me. Roland, I can't even say get your stuff together, because you're not going to get your stuff together, because I dance with dance with master. I dance with master. I dance with master. All right, he's just going to keep shucking and jiving. That's just that's the role he's playing, and that's how it's going to stay. All right, he's just gonna keep shucking and jiving. The man was boohoo crying, last year, boohoo crying because he saw long lines of people voting. It's he is playing his role beautifully. All right, so I can't tell him that he needs to get out of the matrix. He need to. No, he's there for a reason. It's beyond me, all right? But until next time, I'm Tyrone. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what I had to say, if you did not like what I had to say, share your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, I'm Tyrone. Again, like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share this video with other people. Until next time, I'm Tyrone, and I am out.